Here in the council chambers. Can I just ask, Shani, are we online? Just remind councillors if they could have their microphones on when talking, and as loud as possible, please, for their external audience. All good, and welcome to everyone out there in the wide world, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all. Right, we'll go ahead. Councillor Truman, would I please ask you to karakia for the day, please? Thank you very much.
E te atua kaharawa kia tatamai koe kia mātai mō tēnei rā, manaki tia mātai mahi katoa, I runga tingoa, o te matua, o te tanga, o te wairua tapu, ake, amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Councillor Truman. Item number 1, apologies. And Councillor, I have from Councillor Kingi, any other apologies? No, it looks like a full house, so could I just have a mover for that? Thank you. Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Boddy. That apology be accepted. All those in favour, please say aye. It's against, carried. Any conflicts of interest pertaining to the items today? No, we will carry on then. Confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 30th of November 2021. Any points of clarification of those minutes, please? Or any matters arising? No, thank you. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Westerman. Those minutes be received. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Item 4.1, contract, Taupō District membrane water plants. We have Mr. Tom and Tony. Welcome, Tom. Welcome, Tony. And Merry Christmas to you. Thank you very much for your item this afternoon. The floor is yours. Tony.
Yeah, kia ora tātou.
Kia ora. Yeah, okay, you can take them off.
Okay, that's good. Hey, look, thanks for giving us the opportunity to come back. And I'm just going to do a very quick recap overview, and then Tom's going to go into a little bit more detail and potentially kind of head off any questions that may come. And as you know, we had a workshop on the 30th of November, and we brought to you some information on a tender that we've been working on around the membrane plants for several of our water schemes around the district, around the lake. And we presented to you to what the purpose behind that, the why. We need to do that work, obviously conforming with drinking water standards. And we talked a little bit about Taumata Arawai, we talked about the tender process, as well as obviously some of the risks around that. And we gave you some options and recommendations. And what you've got in front of you, obviously, is a paper following on from that workshop. We're just going to take you through that now. And obviously happy to take any questions as we go. It's obviously a significant project. We did outline all the reasons why we need to do this work around compliance. We spoke extensively about the reasons around compliance, and just to add a little bit about that, we had a meeting yesterday with Taumata Arawai, our new water regulator, came up for a meet and greet, and they stayed all day, and that was great. It was good to see them, and categorically, when we were talking questions with them about some of the drinking water standards, the consistent response was compliance. You need to comply with the Act, you need to comply with the requirements, with the regulations. So that was definitely a theme. So just to bring that back and make you aware of that around the table.
Thanks, Tony. Okay. Was the conversation quite convivial?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good. We had a walk around down at the treatment plant as well afterwards, nice. So yeah. That was good. They're almost a fully resourced team now, yes. And the team that visited us yesterday were half from Hamilton and half from Palmerston North. So, good. Interesting era we're moving into.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Tony. Tom.
All right, so today we're after requesting award of part of a program of works to upgrade Kinloch, Amori, Motuopa, Hātepe and Centennial plants to comply with the drinking water standards. It's a 4-year full design build contract. We've had an extensive procurement process, really highly competitive, and we've reached a preferred tenderer status with the Paul Marshall Water Consortium, who we've got quite a bit of history with, as they're involved in the construction of the Lake Terrace plant here in Taupō and then the upgrade of it 2 years ago. They were the lowest price tenderer, the lowest whole life cost tenderer, and the best attributes as well. From a budget perspective, it's where it gets a little bit interesting. So we've got $22 million available across the next 4 years for the 5 plants. Our forecast spend across the 5 plants over the 4 years is $40 million. So that includes pipelines, intakes, project and contract management, and the like. So there is a shortfall of $18 million over the 4 years. Important to note that in this year the budget is sufficient, so the shortfall will be required under the future annual plan processes and long-term plan processes. Just to try and head off a couple of questions. Look, unfortunately the budgets set in the LTP were insufficient. We did underestimate those. Some of the reasons that we set the budgets ahead of the full scoping of the works at each site. We also set the budgets before, and this is a major one, the geotechnical investigations were completed at each site, and unfortunately the ground conditions were found were worse than expected. So pretty much each site has like a deep piling solution, which is very expensive. We've obviously also been experiencing kind of a global high inflation period, so raw materials, equipment have all gone up along with shipping to get equipment here. We're also in a very tight labour and contractor market, so all of those items have increased costs. We've also taken some learnings from the Kinloch wastewater treatment project, which is nearly complete now, in which the project and contract management was underestimated, and so we've sort of taken some of the learnings from that project into this to ensure we cover have enough money available for delivery of the projects. The decision is considered significant, and that's largely because of the cost of the project, and it obviously impacts a lot of our community. However, we are not recommending further consultation, and the reason for that is that we have discussed the projects with the community as part of the long-term plan, and while the costs have increased, the legal responsibility to deliver the projects remains, and has actually been heightened since then because of our new regulator and the new Water Services Act that requires us to meet the standards and to provide safe water. So there's no longer a take all practicable steps. That doesn't exist anymore. It is you must comply. So effectively consulting, the project must proceed regardless of consultation, so we don't see that as worthwhile. Finally, just a comment on water reform. Obviously it's a 4-year contract, and it will likely cross over into the go live of the new entity should that hit the timeline that the government is proposing. So what does that mean? The way I see it is it means we are getting our house in order for the entity. The assets, liabilities, and everything involved with the contract will go across, including the debt. So ultimately, right now, we're doing the best thing for our community by getting the plants up to spec, so that when the entity takes over, they take over these nice new plants that are up to spec, and they don't have to make financial decisions about when to fund these plants. And as I said, importantly, the debt goes across as well. So hopefully that's kind of a quick summary of the paper. I know it is quite a significant decision, a lot of money to ask for. So ultimately, yeah, open the floor for questions.
Thanks, Tom. All right, questions of Tom. Councillor Body.
Just ask a very quick question. I noticed that the bow wave for Kinloch looks like about 4 to 5 million. The budget for the previous financial year was 3.8. How come it's such a large bow wave? If it's something that was left over from a previous financial year?
Yeah, from the previous LTP. So that, I think that project's into, I think its 3rd year now, maybe even 4th. So it's been quite and we haven't managed quite to spend as we expected, so there is a year-on-year bow wave.
So that's more than 1 year, it's been taken over 3 or 4 years.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Through
Councillor
the-
Williamson.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Tom. Well explained. My question is just really basically around the relevant skills. Obviously, hugely important. It's a massive projects, but including subcontractors. Obviously, obviously I realise tender evaluation. There are different processes with the talk about local content, local contractors. So the subcontractors, are they at the discretion of the actual the Port Marshal, or is there some conversation around including them if they're available?
Yes, so we have, obviously normally we have a local economic attribute within our tenders. In this case, that wasn't in there, but there were specific requirements to include local subcontractors where they were available. So all of the tenderers, I must say, all of the tenderers put forward really amazing submissions, and all of them put a lot of effort into ensuring they would use local subcontractors where they could. It's going to be a hard, conversation with the 2 tenderers that missed out on this, because they have put a lot of effort into this project. But yeah, so Paul and Marshall definitely are using some local subbies as well, particularly kind of that earthworks side and pipe work.
Thanks, Councillor Williamson. Councillor Westerman.
Yeah, just on that same vein, would they open up an office here to coordinate all of that work, because it's substantial?
Yeah, look, I'm sure they'll. We probably haven't got quite to that level of detail with them, but I'm sure they will have to have a local facility, even kind of fabricated the membrane skids and the like for the capacity upgrade. And that was quite a small project in comparison. So, given they're going to be here for 4 years, I would think they'll be having a facility.
Cool. Any other questions of Tom and Tony? No, I suppose the unsuccessful ones, Mason and Trilogy and Spartans, as you mentioned, Tom, they would have invested thousands of dollars probably into so we acknowledge them today. They've obviously put a lot of effort in, and they might be listening or whatever, but we really appreciate them tendering, no doubt, as well. As you say, there's a lot of work goes
Definitely.
in. Yeah. Cool. So, and you're most confident the Pal Marshal is the correct one to go with?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. There's a resolution there. Councillor Taylor.
More by way of a comment than a question. Thank you for bringing the item in the way you have and covering off all of the key components of that, and leaving us with really one option, which is to approve. As unpalatable as the finances of that are, to not approve this is even more unpalatable, and I guess between a rock and a hard place. And I guess historically, not just here, but right around the country, not making the decision we're about to make with the financial impact of it is why we're in the mess nationally with Three Waters we are. So I commend you for doing that. And just a comment on consultation, which we would normally do. For it to be meaningful, there has to be some viable options, and there aren't. So you've presented us with not to do that, and I agree with that, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. All right. Okay, there's a resolution up there to approve 31,056,000, is it? And 22 cents. No, not quite. Near enough, anyway. You happy to move? Yep. So the resolution that Pal Marshall be accepted to the job, seconded by, moved by Councillor Williamson, seconded by Councillor Taylor. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate all your hard work on that one. All right, next item is adoption of the annual report 4.2, and we have Jeanette, correct? And Aidan. Hello, Aidan. And do we have someone, possibly Leon? Yeah, Leon online. Can you hear us, Leon? He's reflecting on things a little bit. Yeah. Good. All right. Who wants to get this? Oh, Aidan's delivering some Documents. Thank you. An additional table. And while you're sitting there, Jeanette, I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate you for your appointment to Finance Manager role. Congratulations and well done.
Thank you very much,
Great to
Mayor David.
have you, well, still on board anyway. So nice to see you this afternoon.
Right, it is with great pleasure and a certain amount of relief that I present to you the annual report and the summary annual report for the 2021 and some issues and challenges that Audit New Zealand, I believe, were having. The government extended the deadline for councils to adopt and audit their annual reports to the 31st of December. So by having this meeting now, we're within the deadline. Normally you would be doing this in September, so I think the same thing happened last year. So, and it's likely to happen next year as well, just giving you a heads up. So the audit opinion went to Audit and Risk last week, and they had Leon attended that meeting and advised of the process we went through and what his opinion meant, and the Audit and Risk Committee were happy with that opinion. And probably firstly I'd just like to ask Leon if he wants to say, give a brief report on the process that we went through and the result of his findings. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you, Councillors, staff. Thank you very much. I don't have much to say. Save my talking for the Audit and Risk Committee meeting. But yeah, this has been an extremely challenging year. Not only COVID and quite a lot of our staff on lockdown, but also the auditor shortage that I've been talking about a lot. That means that quite a few of our council audits had to be deferred to next year. So I'm very pleased that we got Taupō across the line. So I'm very proud of my audit team and how they adapted to still get this done. Now, of course, COVID and the lockdown also impacted on your management of the staff. And you've got a new finance team. So we were a bit concerned at the beginning, but I'm very pleased to say that regardless of all these circumstances, the audit went really well. Good delivery from your side. And I want to express my appreciation to your management and staff. Led to an overall smooth audit considering the circumstances.
Thank you, Leon. Certainly appreciate their comments, and thank you. Certainly appreciate Audit New Zealand, or where you are in Tauranga, to put your favourite council first and get us across the line for New Year's Eve. So thank you. It's truly appreciated. So the appreciation goes both ways, Leon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, back to you, Jeanette.
So I'd also like to express my appreciation to Audit New Zealand. We have a really good working relationship with them, and we have robust discussions, but we generally get there in the end of the day. This one went right down to the wire. I think we were printing it this morning at about 10 o'clock, the final version, so that's good. I would just like to also acknowledge the team that put the annual report together. The team comes from right across the organisation. It's not just a finance or policy document. Everyone in the organisation contributes to it, and it's been a great effort by everybody. There have been some technical clarifications since you were issued the report last week. The largest one is the piece of paper that Aidan has just given you. Audit requested that we include this in the annual report. So this has gone behind the whole of council funding impact statement, about halfway through the document, just before the financial for each group of activity. And Audit believe it's good practice that this is included, so we have included that. And I think on that note,
Very good.
we are happy.
Okay, anything you want to add?
Just only a final addition. There will be a final proofread and a designed version. We've got 30 days, well, not 30 days, going a month to now publish it once you adopt it. In-house graphic designer Amy's working on it at the moment. Worst case scenario, we'll publish the Word version for a week or so and then replace it with a proper historical record.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much. Hayden, Jeanette, any questions, councillors? No, all pretty straightforward. So we have a resolution there to adopt the annual report. Do I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Guy. Seconded by Councillor Park. All those in favour, please say aye. Councillor Body? Yeah, 1 and 2, sorry. Yep. All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you, Aidan. Right. Thank you. Okay, 4.3, Health and Safety Report. We have Michelle. Good afternoon, Michelle.
Good
Yep,
afternoon.
that's on.
Oh, I am on.
You're away.
Afternoon, councillors. Mayor David. Just this report is really looking at the trends and the reporting capability of our health and safety software and systems within council, and obviously the health and COVID and the impact since August 17th last year when we went into level 2 plus in our lockdowns has really impacted on not only just the welfare and health of our employees, but also just our ability to complete BAU and with our health and safety initiatives and action plan for 2022. With the new initiative next year to implement 2 focused health and safety committees, it will really help address some of the issues that we lost traction on this year. So anyway, the report is as it reads, and if anyone got any comments or questions I'd like to raise.
Okay, thank you, Michelle. Any questions of Michelle on the health and safety report? No? Must be fantastically presented here, Michelle.
Oh,
You were hoping for some questions, weren't you?
Yeah. Like I say, you know, I think COVID certainly has been a big role in the health and safety space, and I think we all just have to acknowledge that and its impacts.
And thank you, Michelle, for getting close with your people, and, you know, anyone that's obviously been in need and what have you, you've been all over that, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, yeah.
All right, there's a resolution recommendation there that we received the report. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Rankin, seconded by Councillor Park. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item number 4.4. Shani. No additions or subtractions from that? No, for the report. No one else got anything to add? Can I have a mover, please, for those engagements? Thank you, Councillor Guy, seconded by Councillor Leonard. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 4.5 is members' reports. Any members' reports? Councillor Body.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under my hat is the access delegate, so to speak. We noticed the first street corner on the Spa Road Titirapanga corner, with the way the channel's been done, doesn't comply with what we require for the, it's like Scannell Street for wheelchairs, etc. Staff have had a look at it, and they believe that when it's got its fine and ceiling, it will come up to the standard that we always request, but we're not getting that happen. So hopefully people are actually making sure that those corners, because there's 3 still to go, do comply with the standard that access requires. It's there for a purpose, but often it's overlooked. Sometimes it's, they didn't correspond with each other. But the big intersections, and if someone has to come back and redo them, that would be a considerable cost. And we have a meeting tomorrow of access, so whether we get an update or not, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm sure the relevant people heard that. We will get that checked. Councillor Guy?
Thank you. Attended the Airport Authority meeting, Waiora House Steering Group meeting, Destination Great Lake Taupō Board, and the audit and risk and assurance, audit and risk.
Thank you, Councillor Guy. Councillor Leonard? Councillor Mack? Councillor Rankin? Councillor Westman? Councillor Trim? Councillor Anna? Councillor Williamson?
to clarify with Shane, I just could be wrong, with the Roads Reserves Committee on February, I had a feeling that it was going to be deferred till March to allow for an item.
Through Your Worship, the February Reserves and Reserves and Roading Committee meeting will take place, and the 22nd of March one has been moved to the 5th of April. So that is correct. There's a meeting in February.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Shani. That all right, Mr. Chairman of that committee? All good? Lovely. Okay, thank you, councillors. Could I have a mover, please, that the councillor reports? Thank you, Councillor Leonard, seconded by Councillor Westerman. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Right, that is it. Councillor Truman. I was going to say blessing, then we'll move into confidence. Or do we do it after the confidence section? Yeah, sorry, Councillor Drew. Okay, well, that's the official part of the meeting closed. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas out there, wherever you are, and please stay safe, mask up, scan up, and what else do you do? Distance, bit of social distancing and whatever you say. We'll look forward to going into Orange on the 30th of December. Thank you very much. Oh, yep. Yeah.
Include David Lambie, our consultant.
Okay, cool. So, yep, cool. So moved by Councillor Park, move into confidence and inclusion of David Lambie. Could I have a second to Councillor Rankin? All those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Very good. Thank you. No one's leaving.